Good morning, students. Sorry, it's good afternoon. Already it's 12. Am I audible? Okay. And is the board visible? Okay. Now, uh, we'll pick up from where we left in the previous class. In the previous class, after solving problems on circular convolution by using DFT and IDFT method, we started our discussion on additional properties of the DFT. And the first additional property we studied was time reversal. And time reversal states that if the sequence is time reversed, if the sequence, the discrete time sequence that we consider is time reversed, then its DFT will also be time reversed. Okay, we had seen the proper statement of the property and we had proved that as well in the previous class. And at the end, I had written the statement for circular time shift of the sequence. I have rewritten that here. And the statement for circular time shift of a sequence is if x of n and x of k are n point DFT pairs, then as the name itself indicates, out of these two, one is a time domain sequence and another is a frequency domain sequence. Okay, and as per the title of this property, if we shift the time domain sequence circularly, now this circular will be very particular to digital signal processing because after reconstruction, discrete time signal as well as the discrete Fourier transform, time domain sequence and the frequency domain representation both will be periodic, and due to that periodic nature will be having circular symmetries. Okay, now if you circularly shift this discrete time sequence x of n by L number of samples, the rotation given will be x of n minus L subscript n. Now, depending on the value of L, either this sequence will be shifted on the circumference of the circle either in the anti-clockwise direction or in the clockwise direction, which corresponds to positive direction in the shift or negative direction in this shift. We'll be looking at that. If we circularly shift this sequence, then its corresponding DFT will be multiplied by an complex exponential whose frequency will be determined by the number of shifts that we performed in the discrete time sequence. Okay, so complex exponential, what will be multiplying to the DFT will be defined as e to the power minus j 2 pi k into L. Now L is the number of samples by which we have shifted the discrete time sequence on the circumference of the circle divided by L. So if a sequence is circularly shifted, then its DFT will be multiplied by a complex exponential. Okay. Now we'll have to prove this property. So to prove this property, let us consider or let us write the DFT definition. DFT definition of this circularly shifted sequence, defined as x of n minus n. X of n minus n. Now, the DFT definition of x of n will be x of k. Likewise, the DFT definition of x of n minus n. What changes do I need to make? Here, the sequence was in the normal order, so it was x of n. Here, it is circularly shifted. So, inside summation, the sequence will be circularly shifted. So, DFT definition for the circularly shifted sequence will be summation n equals to 0 to n minus 1. Now, instead of x of n, this will be the sequence x of n minus n of n. Okay, the rest of the things will be as it is, e to the power minus j 2 pi k n divided by capital N. Now, in the exponential, we will be having small n because it is still the independent variable of this time shifted sequence. Okay, L, small n is the independent variable and L represents the number of circular shifts. Okay. Now, before continuing any further, let us consider an example of an 8-point sequence and shift it by some samples and observe what will be the difference. Okay. So, let us consider a sequence x of n, 8-point sequence x of n will just represent the index, will not consider any value for these sequence. So x of n, general plotting or the normal way of plotting on the circle will be in the anti-clockwise direction. So first sample will always be at the reference point. So x of 0, next sample will be here, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3, x of 4, x of 5, x of 6, and last sample will be here, x of 7. Okay. Now, this is x of n, and its n point DFT will be x of n. Now, let us, to achieve this circular time shift, let us shift this sequence by some number of samples. Okay. Now, for that shifting, let us consider L equals to 2. Okay. Let us shift this sequence x of n on the circle by 2 samples. Okay. Now, if we consider positive value of 2, in what direction will be shifting it? In what direction will it shifting? In anti-clockwise direction, which is the positive direction. Okay. Now, let us draw that circle here. This is x of n minus 2 of 8. X of n minus 2 of 8. Now, to the reference point, which sample will be present? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ sample ಇರಬೇಕು? After shifting, shift will be in the anti-clockwise direction by 2 positions. So x of 0 will come here. Then if x of 0 comes here, that is one shift. If it comes here, then it is 2 shifts. For n equals to 2, x of 0 will be here, and all the other samples will just follow it. So if x of 0 will be here, x of 7 will come here. Next, x of 6, after circular time shift, the sample x of 6 will be at the reference position now, and all the other samples will just follow. X of 5, x of 4, x of 3, x of 2, and x of 1. Now this x of 0 will push all the other samples in 2 positions. Okay. So initially x of 2 was present here, it has been pushed by 2 positions to get that to the left side of the circle. Okay. Now this is the position. Now if you want to read this sequence, or from this circularly shifted sequence, if you want to write an 8-point sequence, now from what position you will start reading? What will be the first sample in this 8-point sequence? If I want to write it, it will be always from the reference point. Whatever sample is present at the reference point, it will be the first sample. X of 6, what will be the next sample? X of 7. Always reading will be in the anti-clockwise direction itself. Okay. So that means index value for these positions will be fixed. X of 6 index will be 0. Now we have got this 7 sample here because of the circular shift. Okay. N equals to 0, the first index will be here. N equals to 1, the second index will be here itself. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. So these indices which I have written inside the circle, they represent the normal reading of this sequence, of this circularly shifted sequence. Okay, first sample will always be x of 0, next will be x of 1, then we will be getting x of 0, x of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now, if you observe this, now how can we incorporate this shifting in our DFT definition? Okay, so we'll be rewriting this DFT equation as x of n minus l of n equals to summation. Okay. Now, how can we do that? How can it be done? Now this summation, which is spanning from 0 to n minus 1, to include the number of shifts in the circle, can be divided into two parts. Okay, it can be split into two parts. First will be covering all the sample values. That is where the sequence, first sample in the sequence is starting. First sample in the original sequence was x of 0. Now from this point to x of 5. Okay. Now, why is this? What will be the limits of this sequence? What will be the limits of this sequence? It will be the sequence is starting at the index position 2, and 2 represents the number of shifts that we have performed on this sequence to obtain circular shifting. And what will be the ending index? Ending index is 7. 7 is nothing but n minus 1, capital N minus 1. Artha. So this summation will be split based on the number of samples into two parts, based on the number of samples and the number of indices. So this part, samples x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3, x of 4 and x of 5 will be included in one summation, and that summation's limit will be from n equals to L, because we are starting that sequence, or we are starting to collect the samples from n equals to L, and L is equal to 2 for what we consider here. So to generalize that, the lower limit will be L, and within this summation, how many samples are we reading? It will be till n minus 1. So summation n equals to L to n minus 1, and all the other values will be written as it is. X of n minus L of L e to the power minus j 2 pi k divided by. Is this okay? Is this okay? Yes or no? So basically what we are doing is, we considered an 8-point sequence, and we performed some shifting operation of that 8-point sequence. Okay, and then we'll be dividing that 8-point sequence into two parts. First, based on the index from the position where it has been shifted till the end of the sequence, which will give us x of 0 to x of 5. And the second one will be having two samples, these two samples. In the first sequence, in the first summation, we have covered 6 samples out of it. The remaining two are 2 samples, which is x of 0 and x of 7 will be covered by. Now, when do we get these two samples? For what index value? For n equals to 0, because it is the index of x of 6. And what will be the upper limit? There are only 2 samples. In this case, because we considered 8, if we want to generalize this, how can we represent the index value 1? Index value 1 will be L minus 1. Please differentiate between L and 1. So this index is 1, which can be obtained by subtracting 1 to 2. If we generalize that, it will be L minus 1. L represents the position where the sequence has been shifted, and all the other samples will be written as it is. L minus of L e to the power minus j 2 pi k divided by 1. Okay. So after circular shifting, this sequence can be divided into two parts. Are you all following? Yes? Any doubts? No? Okay. So this summation, this one summation, which is spanning from 0 to n minus 1, has been split into two parts. You write them. Summation First summation n equals to l to n minus 1 x of n minus l e to the power minus j 2 pi kn divided by n, followed by the second summation, that is plus summation n equals to 0 to l minus 1 I was I was right. Is it audible now? Okay. This equation has been split into two parts and we have written them. Okay. Now we'll analyze these two summations. We'll analyze these two summations separately. Now out of these two summations, you consider the second summation. Summation n equals to 0 to n minus 1 x of n minus l of n e to the power minus j 2 pi k n divided by n. Okay. Now how can we rewrite this summation n equals to 0 to n minus 1? Now what is this? How can we rewrite x of n minus l by using capital N? X of n minus l can also be rewritten as, because of the circular shift, because of the circular nature of this time shifted sequence, it can be rewritten as x of capital N minus n plus small n. Okay. Now using that, in place of x of n minus l, we'll be getting x of capital N minus l plus small n, and the remaining exponential will be same, e to the power minus j 2 pi k n divided by n. Okay. Now here, to change the limits, let us use m equals to capital N minus l plus n. Okay. Now here, to change the limits, if we use n minus n plus n, then the limits will also change. Okay, because n will not be present over there. So for lower limit, when n is equal to 0, what will be the m value? M value will be n minus l for lower limit. For n equals to upper limit, that is l minus 1, then what will be the upper limit value for m? When n is equal to, small n is equal to l minus 1 plus l, and minus l will cancel out. So for n equals to l minus 1, m value will be capital N minus 1. Okay, we'll use that. And if m is equal to n minus n plus n, what will be n equals to? N will be equals to, you send this n to the other side, m to this side, and negate all the values. So this summation n equals to 0 to l minus 1 x of n minus of l e to the power minus j 2 pi k n divided by n will become summation. Now we'll be using x of m in place of capital N minus n plus n. Lower limit, for n equals to 0, m value is n minus l. For n equals to l minus 1, m will be equals to n minus 1. Lower limit is capital N minus l, and upper limit is capital N minus 1. And e to the power minus j 2 pi k divided by 1. What will be small n equals to? Small n will be equals to m plus l minus l. small m will be equals to m plus l minus l. Okay, now divide this. Divide that exponential into two parts. First exponential will be e to the power minus j 2 pi k m plus l whole divided by n. And second exponential will be e to the power minus j 2 pi k minus of this minus will become plus. Capital N in the numerator and capital N in the denominator will cancel out. So we'll just remain with e to the power j 2 pi k. And what will be the value of this exponential? This exponential will always be equal to 1. So after decomposing this exponential, we'll just remain with e to the power minus j 2 pi k m plus l divided by n. So instead of second summation in this equation, we'll be using its equivalent value which has been written over here. Is this okay? Is it okay? Am I audible? Okay. Now consider the first summation. First summation is defined as n equals to l to n minus 1 x of n minus l of n e to the power minus j 2 pi k n. Okay. Now in this first summation, instead of n minus l, we'll be using m. That is, instead of n minus l, we'll be using m. Then what happens to the limit? When n is equal to l, what will be m equals to? If you substitute n equals to l plus l and minus l will cancel out each other, so m will be equals to 0. And for the upper limit of n, when n is n minus 1, what will it be? What will it be? It will be m will be equals to n minus 1 minus l or n minus l minus 1. Both are same. So using these results, x of m, then what will be n equal to? What will be n equal to? N will be equals to m plus l. So e to the power minus j 2 pi k times m plus l divided by n, and the limits will be m equals to 0 to n minus l minus 1. Okay, is this clear? Is this summation clear? Okay. Now, using both of these summations in place of their original equations, the first summation will be using this. That is summation m equals to 0 to n minus l minus 1 x of m e to the power minus j 2 pi k m plus l divided by n plus the second summation. In place of this summation, we will be using this. Okay. Now, observe these two summations. Observe the limits of those two summations. How are they? The first summation limit is over m equals to 0 to n minus l minus 1. And all the other terms inside the summation in both these summations are same. X of m e to the power minus j 2 pi m plus l divided by l, and this exponential is also same. There is only change in the limits on the summation. Now how those limits are? Can we combine these two summations into one? So dft of x of n minus l of n. Can we combine these two summations into one? If yes, what will be the lower limit of this summation and upper limit of this summation? Now, upper limit of first summation is n minus l minus 1. Okay, now this is the last sample. Second summation is picking up from the next sample because the lower limit of the second summation is n minus l. N minus l is the next sample of n minus l minus 1. Okay, so together, using these two summations together, we can combine these two summations to have the samples from m equals to 0 to n minus 1. So both of these summations together will be giving us capital N number of samples itself. So the lower limit of this summation by combining those two will be 0 and the upper limit will be equal to n minus 1. And all the other terms will be as it is, x of n e to the power minus j 2 pi k. On these exponential, there are two terms. So this exponential can be divided or be decomposed into two parts. 2 pi km divided by n. Okay, and one more will be e to the power minus j 2 pi kl divided by n. So use that here. E to the power minus j 2 pi km divided by n multiplied by second exponential e to the power minus j 2 pi kl divided by capital N. आता आपको देखो Are you all following? Okay. Now out of this entire summation, what is this part? What is or how does it look? There is some sequence x of m which is having n number of samples, 0 to n minus 1, totally n number of samples. In the exponential is e to the power minus j 2 pi km divided by n. Together, is it not the DFT definition? Is it not the standard DFT definition? Instead of small n, we are using small m here. Only the variable has been changed. Yes or no? So can we represent it as x of k, which will be the n point DFT of the sequence x of m. If this is x of k, then it will be multiplied by a complex exponential e to the power minus j 2 pi kl divided by n. So DFT of a circularly shifted sequence will be DFT multiplied by an exponential e to the power minus j 2 pi kl divided by n, and the frequency of this complex exponential will be related to the number of samples shifted in the time domain sequence, which is the required proof for the circular time shift of a sequence. Understood? Any doubts, any questions? Any doubts, any questions? Okay, now this will be the condition. Complex exponential with negative value will be multiplied to DFT when L is positive, because we consider L equals to 2. Okay, while shifting the sequence circularly, we consider L was equal to 2. So for L positive, we will be getting this DFT. What if L is negative? Negative on the new sequence? Sequence will be shifted in the clockwise direction, which is the negative direction, and it will be represented by x of n plus l. X of n plus l. If this is the case, then its DFT will be multiplied by the exponential e to the power plus j. Instead of minus j, we will be having plus j 2 pi kl divided by. So this is the expression for negative value of L if the sequence is shifted in the clockwise direction. And this will be the DFT if the sequence is shifted in the anti-clockwise direction. So any doubts, any questions regarding circular time shift? Circular time shift of a sequence. If not, we'll move on. The next property that we'll be studying is circular frequency shift. The next property we'll be studying is circular frequency shift. And the statement for the circular frequency shift is like this. Now, this is exactly reverse of the circular time shift of a sequence that we studied. Okay. If x of n and x of k are the n point DFT pair, then in the earlier case, we shifted this time domain sequence by n samples. Okay. In circular frequency shift, we will be shifting the DFT. We will be shifting the DFT by L number of samples. We will be shifting the DFT by L number of samples. If the DFT is circularly shifted by L number of samples, then what will be its consequence in the time domain? And what should happen? Yes, who is it? Who is it? Anybody has doubts? So according to time shift property, circular frequency shift, if the DFT is shifted by L number of samples circularly, then its time domain sequence x of n will be multiplied by a complex exponential e to the power plus j 2 pi L into n. Now observe the change. For circular time shift, the independent variable on the sequence was changed. For circular frequency shift, the independent variable on the frequency, which was k, will be changed now. So e to the power plus j 2 pi L n divided by capital N. Okay. Now proof of this is very simple. This means if the DFT is shifted by L number of samples, its discrete time sequence while applying IDFT will be multiplied by an exponential whose frequency will be corresponding to the frequency shift here. So it will be e to the power plus j 2 pi L into n divided by n. Now to do this, we will consider the standard DFT definition. X of k equals to n equals to 0 to n minus 1. X of n w into the power kn. Now instead of the complex exponential, we will be considering the twiddle factor. Now what do I need to make? It has to be, DFT has to be shifted. So instead of k, we will be using k minus n, which will be shifted circularly. Okay, so or you can introduce direct circular shift here. Okay, if you circularly shift this, on the twiddle factor also you need to check n 0 to n minus 1 x of n w at the power, instead of k we will be using k minus l of n, k minus n of n. Okay, now what is this? you can decompose this exponential into two parts. One will be Wn to the power k into n, and another one will be Wn to the power minus L into n. And combining the definitions, okay, rearrange this into the standard DFT equation, you will get the sequence multiplied by this exponential in terms of twiddle factor. Now the proof was very simple to this circular frequency shift, so it has been given in the notes. You please refer to that. The next property will be going through next property will be going on is complex conjugate property. Complex conjugate property of the DFT and the sequence. Okay? And this property states that if x of n and x of k, if x of n and x of k are the DFT pairs, then if x of n is a complex valued signal, then its corresponding endpoint DFT is denoted by x of k. Then, if we take the conjugate of this discrete time sequence, then its DFT, endpoint DFT of the conjugate of the sequence will be conjugate. DFT of the conjugate sequence will be conjugate x star, capital X star, but it will be circularly folded. It will be a circularly folded version, okay, which can also be represented as capital X star of n minus k. Capital X of n minus k. Okay, this means if x of k is endpoint DFT of x of n, if we take complex conjugate of this sequence, x of n represented by x star of n, then its endpoint DFT will be conjugate. It will also be a conjugate sequence, but apart from being conjugate, it will be circularly folded. Okay. Now, what is this circular folding with respect to DFT? We saw I had written a 4-point DFT and its circularly folded sequence. After circularly folding a DFT, all the real parts will be as it is, only the imaginary values will be negated. Okay, so that will be the nature of the conjugate DFT of the conjugate sequence. Okay. Now, if you want DFT in the natural order, if you want just the conjugate of the DFT in the natural order, then we need to perform time reversal on the conjugate of the sequence, or we need to circularly fold the conjugate of the original sequence x of n. So, if we take conjugate and circularly fold this, if we take conjugate from the discrete time sequence and along with taking conjugate, if we circularly fold this, which can be represented by small x asterisk of capital N minus n, capital N minus n, then its DFT. Then its DFT will be conjugate, but it will be in the natural order. It will be conjugate, but the occurrence of those conjugate values will be in the natural order. Okay, so this is the statement of complex conjugate property. To prove this, we will consider DFT. We will write the expression for DFT of conjugate sequence. Conjugate sequence x star of 1. Okay. Now the definition of DFT will be n equals to 0 to n minus 1. Conjugate of the sequence x star of n e to the power minus j 2 pi kn divided by n. e to the power minus j 2 by k divided by n. Now because of this exponential, or we'll multiply one more exponential to this, e to the power plus j 2 pi n into capital N divided by n. Okay, n in the numerator and denominator, if it cancels, will remain with e to the power plus j 2 pi n, integer multiples of 2 pi. Cosine will be 1, sine will be 0, so value of this exponential will be 1 over. We'll multiply this exponential to this summation. So it will be dft of the conjugate sequence x of n will be equal to summation n equals to 0 to n minus 1 x star of n. If you multiply this exponential here and combine that, then you will get e to the power j 2 pi n. 2 pi n will be taken common, will remain with n minus k all divided by n. Multiplying this complex exponential whose value is 1 to this summation and combining both the exponentials, we get summation n equals to 0 to n minus 1 x star of n e to the power plus j 2 pi n capital N minus k divided by n. Okay. Now, on this, to convert this into the standard DFT equation, okay, we need to take the conjugate of this, or taking conjugate of the entire summation will be summation n equals to 0 to n minus 1. Conjugate of conjugate will be the original sequence x of n. And how do we represent the conjugate of this exponential? Conjugate of this exponential will have a sign change. Instead of plus j 2 pi n minus k divided by n, we'll be having e to the power minus j 2 pi n minus k divided by n. Whole summation is the conjugate. Okay. So apart from this conjugate, how can we write this? DFT of x star of n, or DFT of the conjugate of the sequence. How can we write this? How can we denote this? This is the standard DFT equation, but instead of variable k, we have n minus k. Okay, so it will be x star because we have the conjugate of the entire summation, conjugate of the entire equation, but the independent variable is x of n minus k instead of x of k. Okay, and this is equal to x star of minus k because of the circular nature. So this is the required proof of complex conjugate property. If we have a n-point DFT of n-point sequence, then n-point DFT of the conjugate sequence will be conjugate. Apart from being conjugate, it will be circularly folded as well. That's what this complex conjugate property states. Any doubts, any questions? Any doubts, any questions? Yes, somebody? Am I audible? Okay. If there are no doubts, let us conclude this class here. Okay, I am concluding this early, 10 minutes early, because I will be coming back in place of electromagnetic waves. From 2 to 3, Vinay sir is busy, so in place of him, I will be taking DSP class. Okay.